something a little different. A few of you have expressed your interest in finding out more about how I make my videos, and so today I want to take you guys through the step-by-step process of me making a video. So first we need an idea. What's the topic of the video? This can range from anything really, just as long as it's interesting to talk about or watch. It can be something like the Taken King info video, which is pretty much a given in terms of content. It's breaking news. It can be something like the Mythbuster video, but all in all, it has to be interesting, or it has to be something that I think will make you guys think about the game, or at the very least, will be entertaining. Once we have the idea down, we start the script. The reason I write a script is so I can keep my focus. By writing a script and going over it, it makes sure that I'm able to talk about everything that I want to say in the video without having to worry about forgetting something and then having to splice it in later, although I do that with moderate frequency. I don't have a set amount that I write per script, I just write until I'm done talking about the thing that I want to talk about. This can vary from maybe about a page and a half of stuff to over 5 or 6 pages and even more than that. Writing a script also helps me cut down on uhs and ums in the middle of a video and makes it sound a little more professional, or at the very least, makes it sound like I know what I'm talking about, which is something I think people would enjoy, having someone speak with confidence. This process can be a couple of hours, or it can be as long as a couple of weeks. For example, my raid design encounter was written and rewritten over the course of about 10 days. My State of the Crucible video was being revised for about a month before I was comfortable enough with the script to actually lock the draft. However, something like a Xur video is relatively quick, and while something like the Taken King info explosion video wasn't exactly quick, it was still done in a few hours, and this is because all I needed to do was fact check. It wasn't an opinion piece, it was an information piece, which tends to be written pretty quickly, although fact-checking takes up a good amount of time. Then, once I'm happy with the script, we go to audio recording. I record the audio first as opposed to editing the video first because it's much easier to edit video to a finished audio voiceover than it is to edit a video, then do voice, then line everything back up with the audio. Usually I'll just do one take of everything that I do, I'll just keep saying the line until it sounds good, then move on to the next line until I'm done. When we're all done with the voiceover, it's time to edit the audio. This means getting rid of any times I messed up, background noise removal, and anything else I might need to do. I silence any lip smacking or heavy breathing, get rid of any gaps where there is dead air, and otherwise get rid of extra noises that you would basically never hear or pay attention to anyway, because I am a lunatic. This process can take about an hour or so if I'm working with a super long script, but otherwise it takes as long as the script is. So if I spoke for about 10 minutes, it'll take about 15 to 20 minutes to go over all of the audio and make my cuts and edits, so we're looking about 30 minutes depending on how many times I messed up in the audio voiceover. Now comes the video edit. This can range from incredibly complex to only needing one long clip, and this all depends on the context of the video. If it's something like the info explosion video, well, I don't really need any specific B-roll, aka background video, unless the script calls for it. For the Taken King video, all I have is PvP content, so that's what I'm going to use, along with any supplementary content I might have, screenshots, interviews, etc. You have something like the State of the Crucible video, where the meat of the content is in the voiceover and in the commentary, not necessarily the video, so I could just put up some Crucible gameplay of the weapons I'm talking about and be fine. Then you have something like the Mythbuster videos, where I need very specific clips to match up with what I'm talking about. It wouldn't be a good video if I just had some generic background footage with me simply telling you about my findings. That's a video where the visuals do matter much more than other videos. Not to mention I need to prepare ahead of time to make those clips happen. So for something like Shot Package versus Rangefinder, I needed to buy 2 shotguns, reroll them perfectly, level them up, get my buddies together, match up in the Crucible, etc. Then you have videos like the tier list, where even though the meat of the content is in the audio and the commentary, and I don't really need any specific video, I don't like to be lazy and just have generic background video playing in the background. I'd prefer to actually show the weapon I'm talking about for something like the tier list. The same goes for the Should I Keep It videos, where I talk about perks. The least I could do is show the weapon class that I'm talking about as the background footage. It might not be something you notice at all, but it's something that matters to me. Something like talking about the Skolas encounter, once again, the meat of the video is in the commentary, but it helps to at least show the Skolas encounter while talking to supplement the commentary. This process can be as quick as just running through a Nightfall, or as slow as going through every single exotic weapon in the game in different missions. You don't just want to run through the same missions, nor do you want to completely ignore PvP when the content calls for it. That's why for my weapon reviews, I don't just have one or two very long clips going, but instead I change things up to keep up the action of the video, even if it is obscured by graphics. In the second half of an expansion, generally the amount of work per video goes down because most of the heavy lifting is done earlier in the expansion. Something like the Taken King subclass videos took a while because of the graphics involved. I had to go screenshot each talent individually, then crop all of them individually, then organize them into the appropriate graphics, which can be a very time-consuming process. Then you have something where I might want to go into even more detail, or having a little more showmanship where I go into After Effects for additional production quality. I haven't used After Effects for anything lately though, but for anyone who watched an old video of mine called Rating 101, I used After Effects to create a 5-minute segment in that video, maybe 6 minutes. That 5 to 6 minute segment was about 8 to 9 hours of work to put together, and that video collectively took about 40 to 50 hours to put together from concept to upload. I will say that no other video has taken that long since then. Exotic weapon reviews take about 15 to 20 hours of total work, from getting the weapon, leveling it up, getting opinions, playing with it, then gathering clips, putting graphics together, etc. After the edit is complete, it's time for export and thumbnail. Most of my videos are in 1080p quality at 30 frames per second using H.264 as the codec. That's pretty standard as far as YouTube videos go. Then comes the thumbnail. I used to be really bad at making thumbnails, but now I've gotten a little better. The thumbnail can vary depending on the topic. For the subclass videos from E3, obviously you want to highlight the character, but you don't really need much for text. Simply the name of the subclass will work. The thumbnail seeks to either get a point across to prepare you for what's coming in the video, or to just simply look nice. The challenge thumbnails are pretty visually appealing because they're relatively minimalist. You have the boss on the right, the weapon on the left, and a versus in the middle. Looks very clean and looks pretty good. Then you have informational thumbnails, which can vary depending on the topic. For the patch 2.0 weapon tuning video, something that is heavily fact-based, we just have the logo of the Taken King with some white font with a black stroke around it. It's in big letters, it's clear, but you know what you're getting into. Something like the Mythbuster thumbnail, I went for a minimalist approach again, just having the perks and a versus right in the middle. I don't really like including, random faces or memes in my thumbnails. It just kind of bothers me. I've used my face a couple of times, but I'm sure you guys know what I mean with regards to that. There's plenty of YouTube thumbnails out there where the YouTuber puts on a wacky face and all that stuff. That's just not me. I like the simple and clean look for a thumbnail. Once everything is done, we come to the upload, which is not a very complicated process. I schedule the video for upload, write the description, title the video, upload the thumbnail, and update my tags. For titles, usually shorter is better, but I don't like having clickbaity titles for my videos, so that usually ends up making my titles a little bit longer. Plus, I like to be very descriptive as to not mislead. The description usually features some of the main search terms for that video that I think people will be searching for. For example, if I'm doing an exotic weapon review, I want to have the words exotic, weapon, and the name of the weapon in the first 2 lines of the description. This is because when people search for videos on YouTube, YouTube looks at a variety of stats to determine the search ranking, but a good title and a good opening description help it out quite nicely. That's why if my descriptions at the beginning seem redundant, it's because I'm trying to play into YouTube's search algorithms. Then, you all watch the video, hopefully enjoy it, and I get to work on the next one. Anyway guys, that's how I make a video. This wasn't really for any specific reason. Some of you expressed interest in how I make my videos and stuff, so there you go. Unlike what most people think, I don't just sit around playing video games all day and then magically whip up some content. Most of my time is spent in front of Microsoft Word, Adobe Premiere, or Adobe Audition. But yeah, that's my process. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.